Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Overleveled Podcast.
Yeah.
Dude, specifically, the Overleveled Thanksgiving special.
Oh.
Grab your gravy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Just the gravy.
Just your gravy. I was going to say, and other things too, but no, just the gravy's fine. Totally fine.
Gravy would be all right, yeah.
Yeah, just douse yourself, douse your friends in gravy. Yeah. We're just gonna hang out and sit in gravy.
Yeah, I love it.
That's what we do here at the Overleveled Podcast.
So we do, just sit in gravy and talk about some JRPGs. It's great.
Of course. So, anyways, today's I'm hoping that we get this one out on Thanksgiving. If you're watching this on Thanksgiving and you're American. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. You know, maybe you have another thing that you celebrate on the last Thursday of November. Mm-hmm. But we're just over here. We're having fun. We're, just spending time with some friends and family, talking about video games and stuff.
Yeah.
And DJ, real quick,
yes?
What are you thankful for, buddy?
Oh, yeah, it's a loaded question already off the top of the bat. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess cliche answer, thankful for my family and friends. Haven't really thought about it too deeply, but, they're pretty cool.
Bro.
So
I hate that.
Yeah, no.
That's a bad answer. That's a really bad answer.
I'm thankful. I'm thankful for big titties. There we go. That's what I'm thankful for.
There you go.
What about you, Gavin? What are you thankful for?
Real quick, though, you redeemed yourself, man. I was going to have a witch hunt come after you, dude. Everyone was going to come in there and say just how shitty it is that you're thankful for your friends and your family. But you redeemed yourself.
I did. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. Anyways, I guess I'm thankful for my daughter and my family and my friends.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
Nah, dude, you got to have that big ass too, buddy. You got to be thankful for the booty.
Yes.
Anyways, I'm also thankful for our buddy Tyler. I'm so thankful for one of the members of our Discord. He's a listener of the podcast. Follow him on Twitch at TylerMs and follow him everywhere. He's a cool dude. Highly recommend everything that he's doing.
Yes, he is.
One thing that he has done in particular is he has written.
Sure.
Wrote?
Yeah.
He wrote us an email.
Let's go with Roden. Yeah, let's go with Roden.
He wrote in us an email. This email is in particular on the topic that we ended our last episode. If you watched or listened to our last episode, we kind of ended off that episode. We spent about, I don't know, anywhere between like 15 or 20 minutes. We talked about grinding in video games. Mm-hmm. So he emailed us, basically just giving us his input, his feelings, his thoughts on grinding overall in video games. And that's kind of, we're not going to be solely talking about grinding in this episode too, but we will be talking about gameplay. We'll be talking about a lot of games that we love to play more than anything. So, I'll just go ahead and I'll read what Tyler wrote. He said, howdy fellas, Tyler here. Want to start off by saying that you boys are doing a good job and that I was definitely someone who was like, dang, where's the Overleveled podcast at? It hasn't crossed my feed in a hot minute. Yeah, that too. I mentioned that in our last episode. You were joking about how our question of the week is really the question of the month in the episode. Sorry for the wait. Anyways, hasn't crossed my feed in a hot minute. But on the topic of grinding, I definitely like to share my own opinion on it, which is closer to the ones that you share. The enjoyment/want of grinding definitely comes in waves and is heavily dependent on the game's mechanics. Yeah, that's kind of what we were talking about.
Yep.
He continues saying, grinding in Kingdom Hearts... by the way, I'm getting over allergies. It's allergy season right now, so if I sound like a muffled butthole, it's because I'm getting over a snotty nose. Anyways, grinding in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep can be a slog. Not only are there levels to obtain, but your skills have levels, which you then need to fuse together to get better skills and grind them up too. There's also 3 characters, and in my playthrough, I grinded the first one to max level, the second one to level 70, and the last one to around 45, because it did get tiring. Yeah, I don't know if DJ, if you remember just... Which character did you play as whenever me and you did Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep?
Ventus.
Yeah.
I was Ventus.
Yeah. So Ventus, man. Yeah, all of those characters, it's like, it's just replaying the game. It's a lot of the replaying, and yeah, like he was saying too, not only do you as a character have to level up, but you gain abilities. Yeah. And in order to make those abilities powerful, you have to individually level up your abilities. So you have to grind for so many different things. In stark opposition, Persona 4 Golden lets you customize your difficulty from the amount of damage that you take and receive to the experience and money you get from battles. Only thing I changed was experience and money, since streaming the game means I don't want to spend the time grinding to max. I totally understand.
Yeah.
One thing I will do is fight the Reaper about 21 to 28 times, since unlike Persona 5, in which you get the ultimate weapon through demon itemization, the Reaper will drop gear for your party every time you beat him. He'll drop them one at a time, starting with 1 weapon per defeat for your party, then 1 piece of armor, then an accessory, and that's still fun in its own right. Okay, nice. I see what you're saying there. Last specific game I'll mention is Dark Souls, but more specifically Bloodborne, since that's the one that I've beaten. Grinding in that game is a double-edged sword, since your healing is a consumable, so if you run out, you're shit out of luck. But if you're grinding, you know that your soul, you know what your souls are going towards, you know that your souls are going towards boosting your level or getting you more items, weapons, equipment, etc. He means blood echoes. Sorry to correct you there, buddy. Generally, though, grinding is easier on a handheld, but no matter where I'm playing, if the grinding is mindless enough, it's nice just to watch a video or stream a movie while I do it. Something more involved, and I'm inclined to pay attention. Thank you so much, Tyler, for giving us your thoughts.
Thank you.
I was just talking to my buddy Dylan earlier, and he plays a lot of Final Fantasy 14, and he mentioned to me earlier that there's some sort of dungeon or cave that like the people in the Final Fantasy 14 community just call like the Netflix dungeon or something. Okay. Because that's all you do. You go in there, you grind levels out, and you watch something on Netflix.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, Tyler, thank you so much, man. That's Thanks. A great reply. Thank you. Oh gosh, these allergies. Yeah, dude. So, yeah, just wanted to read that real fast. I was really happy whenever I got that email. I like opened up my phone and saw that, whenever, sometimes you get notifications on your phone. Like I get a lot of emails just from garbage, like stuff that I haven't canceled memberships to and stuff like that. And then it's like, oh, this one was from a podcast, like Gmail. Like, oh shit, what's this for? Because sometimes it's like, oh, you got a comment on a video, and I'm like, that's cool. But it's even cooler if it's like someone wrote you an email. So yeah, if you have an email, if you want to write an email, do it. I love that shit.
But, good eats. Give us the email. Good eats.
Good eats. Yum, yum, yum. Yeah, let's see. I guess before we continue real fast, just kind of wanted to get that out of the way. We can talk about a little bit of the news going on. I know it's kind of a change of pace. We were just talking about gameplay and stuff, and now we're going to talk about news. But I just wanted to get that out of the way first, so we can then do news and then we can really talk about gameplay and shit. So
okay.
The first piece of news, the first piece of news is firstly we got some Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origins, details and more screenshots.
Oh, tight.
Yeah, we got like a really badass art piece of the game. I'm gonna save this real fast. I'm gonna save this to my desktop, and DJ, I'm gonna send this to you, and I'll be sure to put this in the video version as well.
Okay.
But take a gander. Take a sweet little gander at this here little screenshot. Oh wait, fuck! I updated my computer to Windows 11, so now shit's weird. Fuck! Hold on, DJ, I'm coming. DJ,
okay,
I'm coming.
Please, come, please.
Oh god, why is this taking so long? Oh my god! Here you go.
Man,
Here you go.
so silly.
There's that.
Oh, that looks dope. I like that.
Yeah, it definitely gives me big time Final Fantasy 1. Like, it's not... I'm pretty sure this is not Yoshitaka Amano. But it gives me vibes of like that... Like all that classic artwork that you would see from early Final Fantasy artworks and stuff.
Yeah, it's like a little bit more modernized kind of...
Yeah.
Fuck
You got the garland kind of like overshadowing everyone. Yeah, cool stuff.
God, this really makes me want to kill Chaos, dude. I love it.
That's really all I want now is just to kill Chaos.
Definitely.
There was a bunch of other screenshots, some other stuff too. I was looking at some of these screenshots, and now I'm starting to kind of see what people mean by like this game looks bad graphically. There's just like some little scenes here and there where you're like, where the hell are their shadows? You know?
Right.
Here's another photo in particular. So if you're a YouTube person watching this,
sorry, auto listeners.
Yeah, congratulations to you guys. Y'all get the maximum amount of content.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at this photo, there's just kind of like no shadows underneath these characters.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's kind of like that's a little weird, but at the same time, I think it's not really worth freaking out over. I don't really think it's necessary to say that this game looks bad. I think people are just
minor details here and here.
Yeah, it's just like people are expecting it to look like it's a mainline Final Fantasy game.
Right, which it's not.
It's not. Yeah, it's made by a totally different team. But anyways, more details about the world, the story, screenshots, all of that came out. So if y'all are interested in looking at those photos, either look at the ones that I showed by watching the video or go look that up for yourself. I'm not here to fucking hold your hand. You can do your own research.
We're not your dad.
I'm not your dad. I'm someone else's dad. Anyways, next piece of news, last little piece of Final Fantasy news. I feel like every fucking week we start off with some Final Fantasy news.
Nothing wrong. That's not nothing wrong with me.
I'm okay with it. The First Soldier, Final Fantasy VII, The First Soldier came out on phones.
Yay.
Anyways, next piece of news. Yeah, I mean, like we said last episode and every other time that we've mentioned this game, I have really no opinions of this other than I'm not interested.
Same.
If there's anything story significant, I'll look it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, this is kind of like this is a little sad. Not like in a I don't know. I don't want to be like an overly melodramatic about this, but Square Enix came out today on the 24th and basically just said, hey, Neo The World Ends With You did not perform to how we thought it would. It really underperformed in sales. I think everyone who did play the game thoroughly enjoyed it. I still haven't finished the game. I started it. I haven't finished it. But yeah, as far as the sales go, they says while Neo The World Ends With You was well received by users, it has underperformed our initial expectations.
Damn.
So I don't want to I don't want to jump to any conclusions here, man, but this makes me think like fuck. Like The World Ends With You was already like hanging on a thread, you know? I just really hope that this isn't like the end, you know?
Right. That would be unfortunate. I mean, hopefully not, but I guess we'll find out.
Right. So, other than that, now that we got all the Square Enix stuff out of the way, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl released.
They did.
Yeah. Have you gotten a chance to pick either of them up yet?
I did. I got Brilliant Diamond, and my roommate Anthony got Shining Pearl.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And so something I learned from after buying those games is that apparently Walmart games are cheaper. I did not realize that.
Yes. Wait, real fast. Did I tell you, like, not only are they cheaper, but there was, whenever Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, I pre-ordered the game digitally.
Yeah.
When I could have, a day earlier, just could have walked into Walmart and just bought it right then and there, and it was $50.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that now. Yeah. Forgot about that. Yeah.
Squandered opportunity. Anyways, continue.
but yeah, I bought the game, and it's okay. It's pretty fun. I mean, obviously some things here and there that I don't like, just, still sort of getting used to the graphics, but I'm sort of used to it now. It's not as bad as how I initially saw it when I first saw it and stuff like that. I gotten used to it. The gameplay is nice. It's definitely way more fast-paced than the original DS version because, oh my god, that was a chore.
Really?
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, the original DS version, it's just slow as fuck. As I was saying in the last episode, like, grinding in that game was a bitch. But in the new Switch version, it's significantly better in terms of, like, the speed and the gameplay and stuff like that. And there's a lot of new things to the game that they do, too, to it, which is really nice. No, I mean, I've only played up to the first gym so far. Anthony's like already on the 7th gym or something like that. This dude's been playing the fuck out of that game. But yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. It's pretty nice. I mean, this is sort of, me and Anthony sort of describe Pokemon Brilliant Diamond as sort of like the warm up to Legend of Arceus,
Yeah, because it's all like the same lore.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no. Otherwise, cool. It's all right.
Nice. Yeah, we had mentioned it like in some of our earliest episodes, but I've never played either Diamond or Pearl. I believe I played a little bit of Black and White, but haven't really dabbled too much in the Nintendo DS era of Pokemon.
Right.
So I've been looking forward to these. I haven't been able to pick them up just yet. I'm thinking
for experience, I would recommend it. Yeah. For experience.
Yeah. I'm thinking about going with Pearl.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do like the design of the legendary in that game better, but I was thinking of getting Diamond mainly because I have Pearl, so why not do Diamond even though they're literally the exact same fucking game.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, good choice. Yeah, I'm excited to play these games. I know you were saying you're trying to get used to the graphics. I played what was it? Let's Go Pikachu. And so as far as like the graphics go for me, I haven't played Sword and Shield. So this is kind of par for the course, as like this kind of looks exactly how I initially assumed a remake of these games would look.
Right.
They definitely look different than the pixelated DS versions, but
yeah,
I think as far as like modern Pokemon done in the old school style, I think it looks fairly natural.
It does look pretty natural.
Yeah,
it's just I think a lot of us were just a little bit jarring for it because we thought it was gonna the models were gonna look sort of more like Sword and Shield, or their actual humanoid and stuff like that, not chibi. But no, it's fine. It's fine. And like some of the cutscenes in the chibi style are a little bit jarring. It's like hard to take this any bit seriously.
Yeah, it like hops between them being like full size people to chibi size people, right?
Yeah, it does.
Okay,
It's mainly whenever you transition to battle, they're like full size.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Right on. So that's pretty much all that I had for the news portion of this podcast. I guess also, have you been playing anything like other than Zelda, or are you just still getting far in Zelda?
Nope, still getting farther in Zelda. Which, speaking of update, I guess yes, last night I got the Master Sword.
Ooh.
So now it's time for me to fuck up Ganon.
Hell yeah, dude. Have you been going out and finding all the memories?
I've found a few, not all of them.
I would recommend.
Get all of them.
I would recommend at least before you go fight Ganon, because you can just go right now and beat the game if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I would at least recommend going and finding all the memories.
Okay.
And killing all of the divine beasts.
Well, I've done all that. I definitely
nice.
kill all the divine beasts, but I guess I just need to do more of the memories.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Well then, bro, you're on track to playing one of the coolest games ever made.
Fuck yeah, I am. What about you? What's your gaming history going?
So I have not played any video games since our last episode. Hold on, real fast. I'm actually gonna go grab some water. So pause.
Okay.
What was I saying?
You didn't play a single game in between episodes.
That's right. In between last episode and now, I have not played any video games.
But Gavin, it's the Overloaded Podcast.
I know. Well, hold on, real fast. I just told you guys a lie. I did play a video game.
Oh, okay.
It's a game I've already played, and I'm not really playing it for myself. I'm more so playing it for my wife. I played Life is Strange Before the Storm. We finished up episode 2 of that, and I think those are cool games. They're definitely not RPGs, not in any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
But they're cool little story-driven games. They're edgy and angsty and stuff, and me and my wife like all of that, stupid teenage drama stuff. So
Right.
so we beat chapter 2 of 3 the other day. So yeah, we're gonna keep on playing that together. That's kind of one of the. I've mentioned this on the podcast as well, but my wife, she's not a gamer, so some of the video games that I am able to play with her are games where she kind of has like a big say in where the story goes. Yeah,
Right.
And she likes Grand Theft Auto, so she likes games where she can control the narrative or just do whatever the fuck she wants.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah. So, oh gosh, this was a bad idea.
Oh no, Gavin, no.
I heard that, bro.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
It's Discord. Yeah, it's Discord.
It's Discord. It's the lag. Okay, so let's talk about some video games. That's what we're here, right? That's what we're for. Yeah. I hate them.
Yeah, no, they're kind of overrated, to be honest.
Pretty stupid.
Overload Podcast is just all about shitting on video games.
Yeah, fuck video games, dude.
Fuck video games.
Okay, so you're playing a lot of Zelda right now. How many... Dragon's Dogma is open world, right?
Yes.
Do you play open world video games often? Like, how does playing this game kind of affect your view of other open world games? If you can kind of, I don't know, if you have any sort of opinion on that.
Well, I've always enjoyed Dragon's Dogma, mainly sort of the gameplay, but one of my biggest criticisms with that game is that like the lack of fast travel, and there's really not a whole lot to do within the world itself.
I didn't know that there was no fast travel.
No, not. Well, I mean,
Damn.
Technically there is with like the crystal thingies that you use to teleport to places, but it's very far and few between. It's just not the greatest version of fast travel, and you don't really get a whole lot of opportunities to use it and stuff like that.
Sure. It's
very limited, is the best way I can put it. There's no like, horse or something like that to like go quickly and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very barren, and like the environment isn't very diverse and stuff like that. But I mean, my biggest appeal for me is like just the gameplay and stuff like that. I fucking love the gameplay of Dragon's Dogma. I mean, and I've said it before with Breath of the Wild. Like, I fucking love how there's just like a shit ton of things to do everywhere. Like, whenever I'm traversing the world, there's always something new to find, and some NPC comes up to you and be like, hey, check out this one thing, or oh, here comes some enemies you can fight out of nowhere, or like, oh, here's a bunch of shrines. Like, there's so much to do and explore in that game. It's fucking awesome. Like, I like how there's a lot going on with Breath of the Wild. It actually feels like, what's the best way to put it? Like, it seems like there's a lot of open world games. Like, they say, oh, we're open world, but like, there's not really much to it. It's just a very like empty world. Like, it's big, but there's nothing to make it worth exploring all of it, But Breath of the Wild makes it more worth it compared to a lot of other open world games.
Yeah, I would say Breath of the Wild is really good at filling up space with new things. Because, like you had said, a lot of open world games are either like there's nothing in between, like, you know, big camps. It's just like barren land, or there's a lot of stuff filling that space, but it's a lot of everything is repetitive.
Right.
I think you can make an argument that a lot of the shrines really are repetitive.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's kind of like, I don't know, a lot of like the puzzle stuff. It's nice that you can stumble across a beginner puzzle.
Yeah.
At the same time that you can stumble across like an incredibly hard puzzle that you would probably expect to see way later on in the game.
God, I hate the motion control puzzles. I don't do any of those.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, no, fuck that.
How do you feel about just kind of motion controls in video games?
Oh, those are fine. It just depends on how they're done, I guess, because sometimes they're bullshit. Like the one that I found in Breath of the Wild, it's like you got to get these 3 balls in these one spot, and just like you can get 2 in the spot, but then like anytime you try to get the 3rd one in there, the 2 balls just get out of the place. It's just like, oh my God, I fucking hate this. And luckily, a bunch of other people agree with that. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on how responsive it is, and I guess I have to go into it knowing, like, is the whole game motion controls, or is just certain sections that are motion controls? But
sure,
I'm not too upset by it. I don't mind it.
Yeah, I think Zelda in particular, some of its biggest downfalls and criticisms that people have caught are whenever it tries to do motion controls.
Yeah, I've heard like Skyward Sword.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I was also really excited to play the HD remaster, because they give you the option for some motion controls, but if you want to completely do away with them, they have like programmed a function to play it with like the joystick on the right joystick instead of actually swinging your remote or whatever. And yeah, even some stuff too. I feel like no, maybe I could be wrong. There are some motion control stuff in Breath of the Wild where I'm like, okay, cool. If it gives me the option to like not use motion controls at all, I'm gonna do that. Like whenever you shoot your bow and arrow, like if you're just holding your Switch in your hands, like do you play it in docked mode or handheld mode?
Docked. Usually.
Okay. I think it's like this too with docked, but like you pull out your bow and arrow, if you're just slightly moving your hand, the bow starts kind of shaking around a little bit. But you can also move the joystick though to control it. So it's kind of like, I don't know, you're moving your aim like cursor around with your hand, but also your thumb at the same time. So it's really hard to be precise with that sort of thing.
Right.
So, like you said, I think it really does just depend on what you got to do. Metroid Prime is another one of those games where it came out on the GameCube, and then they kind of released some semi-enhanced ports of that game onto the Wii, where they did away with the button layout and swapped it over for motion controls. And if it's like a shooting game like that, I like it.
Okay.
But something like Breath of the Wild or Skyward Sword did not really work for me.
Okay.
But yeah. There's a lot of good stuff going on there in Breath of the Wild.
Definitely.
Kind of on the topic of you can kind of come across beginner stuff really easy and expert stuff. I feel like that is something that I really do appreciate in a lot of open world games. There's a lot of, not every single game does this, but kind of giving the player that option to just get their ass handed to them.
Oh, definitely.
By something that
cool.
They should not see until way later on,
Right. Yeah, that is very cool they do that. Yeah, I like that.
It just makes the world feel like it's an actual world.
Yeah.
And not one
just
of those
just
levels.
like, oh.
Yeah.
Not one's just like, oh, we got to save the world in 3 minutes. Oh, let me just do this other thing instead.
Yeah. Final
3
Fantasy
hours.
15 does this really well too. Where there are like some caves that you can go into where it's like, hey, your recommended level of being in here is like level 60, dude. Don't try coming in here at level 8. You know?
So yeah, let's see what happens anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel about adaptive difficulty?
Adaptive difficulty?
So, for example, in Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, it's an open world game that has adaptive difficulty. Whenever you start the game, there is no difficulty setting. Just depending on how good you are at the game, enemies will either be tougher to take down or they will be, easier to take down. So, for instance, in that game, I really love the way Metal Gear Solid does this. You'll hop into a level, and let's say you're just getting nothing but headshots. Like, you're just going boom, boom, boom. You're knocking everyone out with the tranquilizer gun. You're just getting headshots for days. And then you leave, you go back to home base, and you start doing more missions. You'll start to see that more enemies on the field will start wearing helmets.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And so in order to get a headshot, then you either have to get them from the face or you have to shoot twice. You shoot the helmet off and then you shoot their head. And like if you're getting a lot of body shots, like you're just shooting people in the arms and legs, you'll start to see that they're wearing more body armor in the game. So I really like the way that does that. But in your opinion...
that is cool, actually. I mean, now that I know the concept, I know what you're talking about. I like that a lot better in terms of just like the game sort of makes you think and like changes up your gameplay style, makes you sort of reevaluate what you're doing and stuff like that. Yeah, I like that better instead of just like, oh, the enemies have more health now. It's like it's the laziest shit ever.
Yeah, you deal less damage.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
And I feel like that also. I mean, for some games, you do just have to have a difficulty setting. Like for a lot of the older games, I'm sure nowadays, if developers really tried, they could make every game with adaptive difficulty. But from what I've noticed, take a game series like Kingdom Hearts, for instance. There is a huge portion of, and this is not all of Kingdom Hearts fans, but this is one reason why I think a lot of people have a lot of disdain for the Kingdom Hearts community. They will see that if you're playing the game for the first time on like beginner mode versus like expert mode, they'll straight up like trash you. Not everyone in the Kingdom Hearts community is like this. But I've come across that a lot. I've seen in a lot of people's Twitch streams and in my own personal interactions with people. I've met people who are like, yeah, I don't like to play the games because of the community behind it. And, as a Kingdom Hearts fan, that breaks my heart. But it's true, man. Like, not just with Kingdom Hearts, but a lot of fans out there where it's like their difficulty options. They'll say stuff like, you're not playing the game right if you're not playing it on expert mode, So I think whenever you make an adaptive difficulty, that's kind of also mitigating that issue.
Right.
You don't have a group of people who are like, you're playing the game wrong, because if you're playing the game wrong, the game will let you know and it'll kick your ass.
Right.
So I really appreciate games that have that mechanic. Are there?
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Are there many RPGs out there that do that?
Not off the top of my head. I mean, I'm sure there are, but nothing comes to mind that stands out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because, I don't know. I was just earlier I was thinking about kind of switching topics back to what we were talking about. The only thing that I was thinking of earlier was like, man, imagine if like Final Fantasy like 7 or 8 or 9, like on the PS1. Imagine if those games, like from the start of the game, you could just immediately run into enemies that are way more over leveled than you are. You're just like running around inside Midgar, right? And then it's just like, oh, Sephiroth. Cool.
No. Oh, okay. Oh, shit.
Oh, fuck,
I mean,
okay.
now that I think about it, that's kind of Final Fantasy 2, actually, because I remember you actually, if you go a little further from the path, you actually can fight some like higher level enemies than you.
That is true. Yeah, and that's one of the positives too to a lot of older video games. especially older RPGs, they were open world games, and how they would program the random encounters is, they would say, well, you're supposed to be at this section of the map once you've explored all of this area. And once you've explored all of this area, you should be at a good enough level so that now whenever you have to go to this portion, you'll be able to take down those harder enemies. Right. So it's really cool. Developers have to be really smart and very, I feel like they just have to think about so much. Like, how can we keep the player in this area for long enough that, they will level up a certain amount and be prepared for the next area,
Right.
I think that's really cool.
There's a lot of game design, a lot to it.
Yeah. Let's see. What else? What are some other sort of gameplay styles that you favor, I guess, when it comes to playing RPGs?
I like I've realized I sort of like the action turn-based battle style more than just regular turn-based.
Okay, ATB.
Just because, ATB. Just because, like, it makes me think more. I mean, you still have to think in turn-based, but, like, it's more, I guess, you're more into it because, like, you gotta fucking figure out your moves while enemies are also able to attack you at the same time. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, it just adds another layer to the difficulty in combat.
I mean, it just makes it feel more real. It feels like you're actually in a battle.
Right. Not just a couple of goblins waiting for you to hurry the fuck up.
Yeah. And, this is not an RPG, but in the game series Life is Strange, I mean, you're making decisions that whole time. And one of my personal criticisms with that game is the fact that most of the options that it gives you, there's no time limit to choose an option. So you're never, like, pressed to make a decision.
Right.
And a lot of the times it's like, oh, shit, this is a really tough decision. Like, this is a thinker. Realistically, you're not going to have time if you're in the middle of a conversation. You won't be able to just, like, someone ask you a question, and then you're thinking of two separate things in your mind, and you're sitting there for, like, 10 minutes not saying anything. The game will let you just sit there forever, and it'll just be, like, the characters moving back and forth, just breathing, looking at each other. And I'm like, that makes no sense.
Yeah, I get
Same thing with ATB. I mean, that's what, if you're in the middle of a battle, like, if you just stood there, someone's going to attack you. So it makes sense that, ATB makes sense, man. I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I know you're also a fan of tactical RPGs.
Yes.
Grid-based.
Yes. Yeah, I've come to realize that I do like the grid-based system a little bit more than regular turn-based style games. It's kind of hard for me to describe, I guess. I guess I kind of like how, I guess, you can, use the map and sort of move your characters around, and you got to think about the placement of your characters and the placement of your enemies' characters, and, like, different moves sort of have, like, their own sort of, like, they can do... They cover this much area of the map. If you use this move, then they can hit these kind of enemies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more to think about because you have to really think about, like, the terrain and stuff like that, which is pretty cool.
I've since I have recently played the demo for Project Triangle Strategy. I think I like tactical RPGs a lot more than I thought that I did. Because realistically, if you think about it, it's the same thing as a turn-based RPG.
Right.
But just with the added movement. You can move around.
Right,
Not to the level of, like, an action RPG where, you're hitting and dodge rolling and moving out of the way and casting spells all at your command or whatever. Yeah. But if you're a fan of turn-based RPGs, tactical RPGs they're just the logical next level. They're just definitely the step upward. And now instead of just doing, choose your command and wait for them to do it, you can move around first, then choose your command and attack, like, somebody else on the screen. It adds challenge. It adds, like, depth to the field, like terrain, like what you were talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just like one of those things where I'm like, fuck, why have I not played Final Fantasy Tactics yet? I know that I will have a great time playing it.
Goddamn right. Get on that.
Yeah. Well, okay, cool. Let's see. Because I want to spend time just talking more about gameplay styles. Are there any other sort of gameplay styles that come to mind?
I was gonna say actually, what would you say is like your least favorite like gameplay style, just in general?
Man. In general, okay. Well, let's see. I am. Well, so it's interesting because, like I've said multiple times on the show, typically when it comes to playing video games for me, I will try my best to enjoy any game that I'm playing. Especially if it's a narrative-driven game. If the gameplay is not something that I would say is up my alley, I'll try my best to just kind of get through it and experience the story. Because realistically, if I'm being honest with you guys, turn-based RPGs are not my preferred style of playing a game. I love a lot of them, but a lot of that is due to the narratives of these games.
Right.
A big reason why I even wanted to start this podcast with having a focus on RPGs and JRPGs is simply because from my experience, they tend to hold the more deep stories of video games. I know there are exceptions out there. I know there's a game like Spec Ops: The Line. That's like a third-person over-the-shoulder shooter,
Right?
And it does so many fantastic things better than I think a lot of RPGs as far as its storytelling goes. So that's not to say that like you can only tell a good story if it's in the context of an RPG. I don't think that at all.
No, not at all.
From my experience, though, a lot of the best stories that I have played are RPGs and JRPGs. So picking a gameplay style that I hate, I don't know, dude. I guess like visual novels.
Same. That's my answer. Yeah, I don't know.
Like there have been some that I like. But it's kind of the most video game type of video game that is the furthest away from being a video game.
I agree.
You know, like I guess it's a game.
Yeah.
But like compared to other games, I don't know. Visual novels are good for being just that, being a story, being something that you can interact with, a small amount. But for the most part, it's just there to be I guess what would you call it? It's the vessel in which you deliver a story to someone.
Right.
So I would say that is my least favorite. But do you have a favorite?
Just action-based games in general. Because I mean, as you said, like turn-based games aren't my favorite style. I mean, I played a shit ton of them, and I enjoy the story to a lot of RPGs and stuff like that. But if I had to choose, I have way more fun playing more action-based games and stuff like that. That's the reason why, as we mentioned in a couple episodes ago, like our top 10 Final Fantasy games, like Final Fantasy VII Remake is currently my favorite because it's an action game. I fucking love
it's one of the most fun to play.
Yeah.
It's
very engaging. I like it.
I completely agree with you. Games where they give you a weapon and they say you can run around and attack whatever you want to attack.
Yeah.
And, if it's got magic, cool. Like, like Kingdom Hearts. I'll always kind of come back to this, man. Kingdom Hearts 2, I think, is one of the most fun video games I've ever played in my life. Like, its gameplay is just so fun. Like, and it's the same kind of concept of like Final Fantasy VII Remake. If you're a fan of that style of gameplay, you'll be a fan of the Kingdom Hearts games and stuff just because, they give you a weapon and they put out a bunch of enemies out on the field. You just, you swing that sword over and over and over again, or that keyblade or whatever, until eventually you get that little level up thing that comes up and it's like, yeah, that feels awesome.
Fuck yeah.
I really like that Bloodborne and the Souls games in general. I like what they do whenever they give you all of your experience points, and then you can just kind of go do whatever you want with them.
Right. Oh, definitely.
But at the same time, I would love a game like that where, you just attack a bunch of enemies, and instead of collecting, I mean, it kind of goes against the whole gameplay loop, right? But at the same time, I'm like, man, I wish it would just like give me a level up thing instead of me having to go and just, make my strength this much more, my health this much more. I just love games that where you can level up. And
that's fair.
My favorite style is just that of an action adventure RPG.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
But yeah. Let's see, buddy. What else?
What else about gameplay? What's going on with that?
What's up with gameplay, guys?
What is up with that? Why do you even need that in a video game?
Yeah, if anybody else out there has any other sort of input on gameplay styles, gameplay loops that they really love, I would love to hear it. All of that stuff you can do by emailing, like Tyler. If you want to be like Tyler, go ahead and send us an email. It's overleveledpodcast@gmail.com. The description to all of that is always in the, or what? I'm sick. the links to all of the stuff that we mentioned here is always going to be in those YouTube descriptions and stuff like that. You can comment. Oh my God, dude. Oh, I know this is good audio, just content. Yeah. You can also comment on the YouTube videos and join our Discord. Speaking of our Discord community, I think now if we want to go ahead and step away from all that good gameplay talk, we can go ahead and do our question of the week.
That's right.
And then after we do, all of our answers, we do have we have a question of the week that was suggested. So we'll do all that. All right, question of the week. DJ, do you want to read what the question was?
New question of the week suggested by @Cujo. If you could erase your memory of any game just to get to experience it again, what game would you choose and why?
And why? I love this question.
No one words.
Yeah, no one words in this one.
I want a paragraph.
For real. Okay. Let's see. The Asian came in. The Asian says, there are so many, but I would have to be in the era that it was released in. Silent Hill 2. It was the first game I played that had a good storyline that sucked me in. Probably explains the nightmares I had. True.
Fair.
I'd probably play it again if it didn't cost $120 for the true experience. He's talking that PlayStation 2. You got the physical copy and everything. You got the 480p tube TV, bro.
God damn.
It still is one of the better puzzle horror games to date. Would want a recommendation or something similar if anyone has any. Ooh, okay. DJ, do you have any recommendations for the Asian? Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, sure. Fuck it. Final Fantasy 7.
just play Kingdom Hearts 2, bro. No, I mean, honestly, yeah. If you want a good puzzle horror game, I think the remakes of Resident Evil 2 and 3 are really good. Even like what is it, like 7 and 8? Those are, I would say, okay, I have not played 8 yet, but Resident Evil 7 I think is my favorite puzzle horror video game.
Okay.
It genuinely scared me, and it genuinely made me have to think about the puzzles. So, The Asian, if you have not played Resident Evil 7, play that. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
But also,
honestly though, I just want to say real fast, like the whole wanting to get a game but it's way too expensive, I relate to that super hard, because there's this one game that I want to get for the PS2 that I remember playing the demo for, and I'm just like, fuck, I've seen this game so many times at like this one local game store that I could have bought.
Yeah.
Fuck. And it's the game is called Steambot Chronicles.
I've never heard of it.
It's just this fuck, I don't even remember too much about it. It's just this game where you pilot a robot. I mean, I don't really remember a whole lot because I just played like demo of it many years ago. But it's pretty much just you piloting a robot, finding other robots. It's pretty
Nice.
standard stuff. And cheapest it's going for right now is like $150,
Holy shit.
and the most expensive is $400. So it's just like, God damn, I want this game, but it's so expensive.
I'm pretty sure that's how like the dot hack games are as well.
Oh,
like the
100%.
PS2 versions.
Yeah, I remember the first place that I ever worked at called Buybacks. It's now like completely gone, unfortunately. Oh, like they had the dot hack GU games, and like each one for the PS2 was like $100 or something like that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
crazy.
as I mentioned this before, the cool thing about them making the remaster thing is that like they have all 3 games for $60 plus like a brand new like dot hack GU4.
Yeah.
So it's just like, why spend $100 for each PS2 version when you can just buy a better version of the game that has all 3 of them, or all 4 now?
But like he said, man, sometimes you just want that true experience, man.
I get that.
Yeah, that's a good answer, man. I appreciate it. I also, before we continue with more answers, I do have an answer for this. I'll say it whenever we're done. But I have to agree with you, man. Some of these games that I would love to experience again, I think I really would have to be in the time that I played it originally. We'll talk about that more later, but I agree with you there. Okay, One Pin Tones.
The one pin.
The one pin. Okay, One Pin Tone says, this is a hard question. Uncharted 2.
Didn't see that hard.
Yeah, seems like it's a pretty easy one for you, buddy. Uncharted 2. This game made me feel like I was Indiana Jones exploring and discovering an ancient civilization and their secrets. Also, completing with an organization that wants to find and use the powers for world domination. The mix of exploration and firefights sealed this as my pick. The train sequence alone is worth playing this game for. Dude, I agree. I love Uncharted. This is a game series that is very near to my heart. Yeah, man, that train sequence, dude. I love that shit. You still haven't played the Uncharted games.
I have not, no.
Gosh.
But they seem great, though.
They are, dude. They are fantastic. And, you know, now that they're all available, at least on PlayStation 4, you know, maybe that's a series you'll one day get to.
Yeah, probably.
But, yeah, good stuff. Tyler Rims.
The boy.
If I could erase my memory of any game, it would be either Final Fantasy 15. I love that game so much, and to be able to go through it again fresh would be phenomenal, especially with the added royal stuff. And the other option would be the entire Danganronpa series, or at least the mainline games. Since it's a death game murder mystery, once you know the things, you kind of know them forever. I also breezed through the first 2 games in like a month, so I would hope Memory Wiped Me would take it slower. Nice.
Okay.
I've not. Danganronpa is something that I've been wanting to get into more as of recently, especially with like Squid Game.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah, Final Fantasy 15, dude. I know DJ for Tyler. I'm sure you have heard this, but DJ is in that spot that you're in right now, buddy. He's going through it for the first time too when he's done with The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
That's right. That will be the next mainline Final Fantasy game that I focus on.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, love that game. Okay, then Cujo came in last minute. Almost didn't answer your own damn question, buddy. I caught him in the middle of a stream. He was playing Shin Megami Tensei 5, and I was like, bro, you better go answer.
Hey, yo.
Okay. Cujo says, probably Zelda Wind Waker or Paper Mario 64. Both are games from my childhood that I would love to experience again. Nice.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah. I would say, I mean, personally, Wind Waker is in my top 10 favorite video games of all time, I believe. And it's in my top 3 favorite Zelda games. So I agree with you there, buddy. That's a good one. I wish I could go back and do that one. Right. DJ, do you have an answer for the question of the week?
I have multiple, sort of.
Same.
don't have a specific one, but I guess
Lay
some
them
of
all on me.
the games that I played as a kid, like I would love to. The very first one that pops in my head is Pokemon Leaf Green. I remember loving the fuck out of that game and just doing everything I could in that game and just being so enthralled with like, oh man, it's like the anime. Oh, so cool. And just exploring that. Like I had so much fun with that. I mean, I played it so many times now. Like it's a game I constantly play on my phone to this day. And just like it, but I still don't have that wonderful spark that I did when I very first played the very first time, you know.
Sure.
And I guess also just any Final Fantasy game, really. Just the experience of playing those again for the very first time was cool. And Dragon's Dogma 2, I remember the very first time playing, just being so like excited by what's going on and all the cool shit happening and stuff like that. I'm sure there's more, but those are the first few that pop in my head.
Yeah. So like what I was saying earlier too, whenever I was agreeing with the Asian, he was saying, you know, I would have to be in the era that it was released in. And I think for a lot of my picks, I think I would also have to be, you know, because let's say I have never played Kingdom Hearts before until like today. I don't think I would like it as much. Just knowing me. I mean, realistically, it's one of those games that firstly instilled my passion for storytelling in video games. But at the same time, the first time that I beat Kingdom Hearts 1, I believe I was in the 6th grade.
Okay.
So I was, 11 or 12, maybe? 11? So as an 11-year-old, I think that game speaks like perfectly to kids who are like in that age range. Right. Not that it can't speak to adult people or teenagers or anything like that. But I think at the time that I played that's exactly what I needed for that time.
Okay.
And I was obsessed with it for years and years and years. I just don't know if today, based on how I enjoy stories now, I don't know if I could just start playing Kingdom Hearts 1 on the PlayStation 2, like with the same controls and everything that it had on the PS2. Because back then you couldn't look around with the analog stick. You could only look left and right with R2 and L2. So that pissed me off. I mean, that would piss me off today, but I guess it didn't really affect me all that much back then. I just know that now I don't know if I would really enjoy it.
Makes sense.
But I would love to re-experience that game for the first time.
Oh, definitely.
Really, Kingdom Hearts 1, Chain of Memories, and 2. All three of those games. I played all of those like pretty much back to back to back.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, but you know, I played games for a lot longer back then. I beat Kingdom Hearts 3 in 2 days. Like,
oh shit.
Like just because I was like nonstop. But at the time, whenever you're in the 6th grade, you have school and you have like other shit that you got to do, and like you got other friends and you want to play outside and you have other games that you want to play, and you know, you just don't have time to just sit there and blast through a game. So kind of like with what Tyler had said, like he breezed through the first 2 Danganronpa games in a month. So he wishes that if he were to do it again, he would just go slower. He would take his time. And yeah, I think there were definitely a lot of games that I have played and beaten today where I'm just like, man, I should have just given that game some more time.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. There was definitely a time period where, a couple years ago even actually, like I was just trying to just plow through games, not even worrying about the story or anything like that. Just trying to beat it for the sake of beating it, you know? But yeah, now I'm trying to slow it down a little bit, pay more attention to what's going on in both the story and the world and stuff like that.
Like
I 100% get that.
I really enjoyed Horizon, but that was a game that I really feel like I was just beating it for the sake of beating it.
Right. Yeah.
Like if I had the chance to play that game for the first time, I would definitely try to go slower.
Right.
But yeah, I'm trying to think. Other than Kingdom Hearts, man, like Metal Gear Solid 3.
Okay.
I don't know, because that's a game still that I will probably more likely go back and play Metal Gear Solid 3 over Kingdom Hearts 1 if I had the choice, like, right now.
Oh, okay.
There are definitely some dated things about that game, but the story is mature. It's a rated M game. It's also fucking whack as hell.
Right.
Yeah, dude. If I had the chance, like, to play a game for the first time again, it would probably be Metal Gear Solid 3. I really don't have any other strings attached to that. I would just love to play it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Fuck, dude. If I could just play it again for, like, the 80th time, I'd do it right now, bro.
Fuck.
Good game. Okay, cool. Well, that pretty much covers it for last week's question. We do have a new suggested question.
Oh-ho!
And this is if you join our Discord, or you can even tweet at us either your answers to questions, or if you have a suggestion. If you have a question that you want us to answer, guys, I'm so sorry for my voice this entire episode. I'm like, every now and then I get a glimpse of what I sound like, and I'm like, oh, fuck me. Why did I do this today? I just wanted a video out for Thanksgiving right after I said I don't want to have videos out for having videos out, bro.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, what happened to that whole...
I know. I'm a hypocrite. Okay, anyways. Tyler has come in with a suggestion. Pick a game series that you love. How would you reboot it into a genre that is different from the one that it's already in? For example, turning a JRPG into a first-person shooter, or a first-person
First Soldier.
Yeah, or turning a first-person shooter into a cooking game. So, I feel like me.
17 is a cooking game.
Yeah. Cooking Mama Tifa edition.
Hell yeah. Oh, I put the fuck out of that.
I know me and you spent a little bit of time, because I think before he had even asked this question, I had mentioned to you, like, oh, what if we did something where, like, we take an RPG or something and we, kind of do, like, Final Fantasy VII was a JRPG turn-based game, and now it's an action RPG, So
yeah.
I think this is a great question. So, guys, if any of y'all have a game or a game series in mind that is of one specific genre, if you could change it to a completely different genre, maybe it's even just like turning it into a horror game. What would y'all do? How would y'all change it up? I'm really interested to seeing some people's...
Let us know.
Yeah, interested in seeing y'all's responses. But other than that, and other than me being a sick son of a bitch, that's gonna be it for this episode. I think for what it was, I had a good time talking about this stuff.
Yeah, no, it was fun.
Cool. Well, DJ, before we officially close it out, do you want to plug your shit?
Sure. Hi, I'm DJ, and I have my own personal channel called Mushroom Man, where I talk about and make fun of different anime, movies, and video games. I just recently released as of this video, my top 10 anime of 2021 list video, so you can check that out. And also you can check out my personal podcast called the Ramen Stand Podcast, where we talk about anime and have a good time with that. That's pretty much it for me.
Hell yeah. Nice. And me and you had talked just very briefly, maybe in one of those future videos on Mushroom Man, I might make some sort of...
that is true, yes.
What is it, a quiz idea, maybe?
Yes.
Nice.
He will... I would like Gavin to be in one of my videos. I'm not going to say which one because I don't want to spoil it, but...
Yeah.
Gavin will definitely appear on one of my videos for the channel, which will be fun.
Cool.
Expect that sometime in 2022.
Yeah. That's way later on. But if you're only here for me, then I guess there's your your reasoning for going and checking out DJ's channel.
Yeah, there you go.
Other than that, though, you should just go check him out because he's making excellent content. Highly recommend everything that he's doing. So go check him out. And then also, I I haven't played any video games for a little while, like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, but I am doing Twitch streaming stuff. I'm still in the middle of playing Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, trying to understand the story to that game for another project I want to work on for the podcast, for the channel, all that good stuff. So come check me out over there. It's twitch.tv/gavdod.
Get on there.
Yeah, get on it. Also, like we had mentioned too, you can email us questions. You can just tell us how much you hate us and how stupid I was for deciding to do a really interesting episode topic really last second while I was sick. So
appreciate your commitment.
Yeah, I appreciate all criticisms except for the ones that make me cry.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, we got the email open. We got the Discord open. Come join the Discord.
Get on.
Yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitters, bro. Yeah, that's pretty much it. DJ, hit him with it.
Enjoy your Thanksgiving and eat that turkey, or you're gonna be sorry, you jerky.
That's true.
That's true.
All right, bye.